What is up, YouTube, and welcome to this Doctor Who Flux episode 2 review and breakdown. Now, I expected full-on Crimean War fun this episode, but the show went in an incredibly different direction to what I was really expecting, and the structure of the show was a lot different than the usual Doctor Who episode, and is far more of a continuing serial, and even using the whole time as a mess thing to have some creative problem solving and some really good reasons as to why one or two of the companions are in different periods of time, as opposed to them simply going on a different B mission to unscrew a panel on a spaceship. After last week, we had the Doctor, Yaz and Dan end up in a fractured mess across time and appear in the Crimean War. It was a transformative time for European history as they come across Mary Seacole. Of course, this woman was, completely real, and, well, Florence Nightingale is the name you will remember from her nursing protocols being perfected here in the Crimean War, and modern medicine owes a lot to that woman. Well, there was also another influential nurse named Mary Seacole, who was an influential trailblazer and had an interesting conflict with Nightingale about coming out to the Crimean War and working on injured people. Now, usually the show is very, very fixed on its historical, whole plot point. Of course, the show was intended to be educational, but this is way, way more of an actual serial now. We had crazy storytelling with Stephen Moffat, but this seems to be a great blend of Moffat's lofty, crazy ideas and Russell T Davies's just perfect characterization and dialogue, along with a episodic nature that continues on a serial. Now, in the Crimean War, we get to see the British hotel, which did exist, that was behind the lines, a lot more dangerous than where Nightingale was. However, we soon learn that the Potato Head Sontarans are the belligerents in this war instead of the Russians, and Yaz and Dan actually have to dip due to, well, yes, some crazy flux and vortex energy coming into competition with each other. Now, in this, we soon learn that Russia doesn't exist and is simply Sontar. It turns out that just before the Lupari shield went up to protect Earth from the flux, the Sontarans who predicted the attack arrived a split second before it went up, as they predicted the flux due to their psychic assault force. And, well, they've changed everything, and they want to take Earth from themselves. Where are the Lupari? I don't know. They appear at the end, but it's a bit weird. The bull-headed general wants to attack the whole column of the Sontarans, despite being severely outgunned, but he's got the country, and he's got the Queen, who the Doctor reminds him that the Queen's not there, so it's not going to help. And, well, like I said, we have Yaz and Dan slipping through time. We see Yaz arrive at what is known as the Temple of Atropos on planet Time, and she sees the guy from last week we saw briefly, who was imploring his people to build a tunnel, and I feel that he will pop up sooner than later, but this is simply reminding us that, he's a thing. Also, we see Vinda, who was there last week, being asked to repair the temple, and I think that many people are just appearing there randomly due to time being an absolute mess, and 343 Guilty Spark is trying to get as many people there to fix what is going on. The Doctor and Mary working together was a total joy as we see them try and get a parley with the Sontarans and end this fight, but the General acts like a total idiot, leading to a battle with clones who dream of dying in battle, who have space lasers, while we just have, normal human weapons of the time. It's a world away from what I was expecting of one of the most interesting wars in history. Even the battlefield is, the whole set was a bit weak in my opinion. But the Doctor is a smart cookie, and as the battle fails there for the British, Well, we learn that they can just siphon off the nutrients that the Sontarans need to survive from their ships while they go to sleep. Sounds dumb, but they see the humans as just ants and wouldn't expect them to breach their mountain facade, which they do. And, well, the Doctor reaches Dan, who's been going around Liverpool, seeing the effect of a Sontaran future. Nice of them to keep Anfield there, and it's a very interesting time this episode drops as West Ham thumped Liverpool. Brilliant. But we see Dan about to be killed as Carvanista saves the day. As I said, I'm a bit confused as to where the Lupari are this whole time. Maybe a time wizard moved them. But I loved the idea of the temporal bomb being hit and wiping out and erasing these Sontarans. Now, it felt a bit rich the Doctor was just chill with that horrible time death, but a general killing retreating Sontarans who would have most likely committed genocide against humans, now that's too far. It's an obvious reference to the sinking of the Belgrano in the Falklands War, and was also referenced again in the Christmas special with Harriet Jones. It's interesting they've done the same thing twice. While the plot bending of last week was jarring, here it works perfectly as Atropos is invaded by Swarm, Azure, and I think the passenger I got from that. They easily dispatch the 343 repair spark and implant Yaz and Vinda as priests into the weird kind of, time priest thing, for lack of a better term, when we see the Doctor confront them as the TARDIS was hijacked and brought there. She, of course, doesn't think that there is a planet time, but Swarm is a villain pre-Mindwipe and leaving the division, so there's a lot she doesn't remember. Time is being painted as a sentient being, or maybe more of a force out of control, as opposed to a simple math equation and concept, which is very, very interesting. TARDIS is failing as time itself is also failing due to the flux, which is going to be some big changes ahead. While the Sontarans was the cool story, Swarm here are providing big insights that something major is going to change and a continuation of the Timeless Child episode is going to happen. Of course, the Doctor is the Timeless Child, and these beings, the Muri, seemingly have time flow through them. Who can allow that, or at least take that? Well, that's the Doctor. We are yet to know the origin of the Doctor, the true retconned origin that is. What if the Doctor's home planet is indeed time itself? But I am not sure I can handle Twitter and Reddit if that happens, if people still haven't got over the Timeless Child yet. But my out there theory is that all the multiverse realities are falling in on each other, and that is the Flux. The Swarm seemingly want to fix time, which they've done by having Vinda and Yaz there, but we don't know what their deal is yet. But we also saw at the start the weird haunted house, so it's clear these bling skull villains are in their heads. That house was also featured last episode, I believe, with the woman who was attacked by the angels. I feel this was a very, very strong episode and had equal pair to spare, with humans being executed in the present and hilarious back and forth and badass one-liners. But that is it for this video. Please do drop a like down below. Do subscribe with notifications on. I will be back next week for another Doctor Who video, and I'll see you soon, and goodbye.